in our next exercise, we are going to update the shooting game app again by adding some background music to the game. So when the game is being played, you have this annoying background music playing in the background. If you do not like to hear the music, you always have the option of clicking on this button and turning off the music. Or if you are interested, you can have the background music running in the background. So that's the next addition to the music player example. In this exercise, we're going to make use of the media player that is part of the Android framework to enable us to play this background music on our behalf. So let's go ahead and then see how we implement this in practice. To get you started, once again, download the zip file that we have provided for you for this exercise, unzip, and then import the project into Android Studio. Once you do that, you will notice that there are some changes to this application, minor changes, and then we will update a few more things in order to make this application work correctly. First and foremost, we saw that we were using a button in the menu bar to turn on and off the music. So we're going to first learn how that is implemented. Then subsequently, we will see how the actual music playing in the background is supported within this app. In particular, you will notice that there is a new folder called the raw folder in which I have put a few sample sound files there, and one of them being Brain Candy, and that is what we're going to use for our background music for this exercise. In addition, I have already included the volume icons into the drawables folder so that we can make use of it on the user interface. Now, how do you add items to the menu bar or to the toolbar as we saw earlier? To do that, in the menu folder, we will have to create a layout file called menu layout file. Now, for this exercise, this is already included. Now, when you create a new activity in Android, by default, a menu XML file is already included for that activity here. So you can go ahead and then modify that in order to include additional items into the menu bar there. So let's have a quick look at the menu shootinggame.xml file. Now inside here, you will notice that this is an XML file which describes the items to be included in the menu bar. One of them is the settings item, which you don't see on the menu bar, but you see it as an overflow. That is, when you click on the three vertical dots, this will show up on the screen. The other item that is included in the menu bar is the volume on-off button that we have seen being used to turn on and off the music playing in the background. Now, when you have a look at this declaration of that button in the XML code, you see that we specify the ID for it, we specify the icon to be used there, and we also specify that this should be the first one in the category, and then in particular we say app show as action as always, meaning that this particular item should always be shown in the menu bar. Now the same thing for the settings, you see that the show as action is shown as never, which means that the settings menu item will always be in the overflow of the menu bar. Okay, so now we see how we can include icons into the menu bar, and then now we'll go into the activity code to see how the menu items are actually activated in practice. So let's go to shootinggame.java file and then look at how this is done in practice. Now, before I explain how the menu items work in practice, let's first examine how we're going to include the background music playing into this app. Now, if you walk into the shootinggame.java file, you will see that I have a few to-do items that I have marked out. So you need to fill up these in order to complete this exercise. In the instructions, we have shown you exactly what to include for each one of these. But let me go ahead and then make the modification and then come back and explain to you what has been done to update the shootinggame.java file to complete the exercise. Getting back to the shootinggame.java file, let's examine this in more detail to see how this activity class has been updated in order to play the background music. First and foremost, you would notice that I have a Boolean variable here called play music, which if set to true, we will play the background music. If it is set to false, we will not play the background music. And then I have declared a reference to an object of media player here. We're going to see how we create the media player and then use it to play the background music next. Now, as you come down into the onCreate method, you will notice that right there I create a media player. Now, media player create is used when you are playing a music file or a sound file that you have already included in the raw folder of your application. In this case, since we have already included the music file in our application, we are going to use media player.create, and the two parameters here are the context, which is this here, and the second parameter specifies the name of the music file that has to be played. And then I set the set looping to true, meaning that at the end of this playing this music clip, it's going to resume and play continuously in the background. So that is how you have the background music for your games. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to start playing the background music when our application comes up onto the screen, and then we will stop playing the background music when the user navigates away from the game. So in here, we're going to take advantage of the on pause and the on resume lifecycle methods of the activity in order to resume playing the music and stop playing the music. So in the on resume method, we saw that we had a to do, and in place of the to do comment, I have substituted this code here. Now, since I have already created the music player, the media player in the onCreate method, I'm just going to resume playing music by calling player start. The start is a method that is provided by the media player class. When you call that, the playing of the music will start. Similarly, if you want to pause the music, you call the pause method of the media player in order to pause the music. So that is what we're going to use in the on pause method to stop playing the music. Now, I am using the play music Boolean variable to decide whether I should be playing the music or not in practice. Finally, in the on destroy method, you see that when the activity is destroyed, then I will stop playing the music completely and then release the media player object completely. So that is also essential for you to do to shut down the media player when you quit the application. In addition, the two parts that we saw of interest to us is how we are going to activate the menu button that we used in order to pause and play the music. So how is this menu button used in practice? Now, if you are including menu buttons within your activity, then this method called the onCreateOptions menu method is going to be called to create the menu bar for your application. Now, earlier you have seen this code being included in the activity class, but we didn't actually discuss how this code is used in practice. No, so now you're going to see this in practice. So in here, we are going to call this Android method called getMenuInflator, and then supply the menu XML file as a parameter to that to make the Android framework create the menu bar on the top for your activity. So inside here, what I am doing is that in case my music is to be played, then I will set the icon to be one kind, which is with the volume button with a cross mark on it. If my music is not being played, then I will set the icon of that button to be a standard volume button, which when the user clicks will result in the music being played. So these two are decided by the using this code here. Now, in the on option item selected, this is the method that is going to be called when you click on any of those icons in your menu bar. So for example, when you click on the volume button on the menu bar, it is going to result in a call by the Android framework to this method in your activities code. So when this method is called, there you're going to decide which particular menu item has been selected and then appropriately take action. So here we are saying if the settings menu item has been selected, then you're not doing anything. But if the menu item corresponding to the music playing is selected, then we're going to take action appropriately. If it says that the music is to be played, then is being played, then you pause the music and then set that button icon to be the volume button. And if not, then you will resume playing the music and then set that icon to be the volume button with the cross mark on it. So this is implemented in the on options item selected method of this class here. So once we complete these updates to the shootinggame.java file, then we can go ahead and execute this application and then see it running on our emulator or the real device. Once you deploy your application to the emulator or to the device, you will now see the music playing in the background as your application is running. So you can turn off the music by clicking on the volume button there, and notice that when I click on the volume button and the music is paused, then the volume button changes its icon. And when I click on that to resume the music button, now you notice that the icon changes correspondingly and you see the music being played. So you can go ahead and then play the game just like before, but with the background music playing for you in the background. So this completes this exercise. In the next exercise, we're going to extend this example by including additional sounds that will be generated under different circumstances. So for example, when you shoot the Android guy and hit it, then you will hear an explosion sound being generated at that point.